As Tony Stark lies on the street in a stupor, surrounded by bystanders, Ironheart appears. Having been alerted by the social media traction of Tony's predicament, she has arrived to pick him up. At Tony's request, Riri brings him to his new hideout at Bronson's Cabs. He puts on his armor's chest plate to regulate his heart's arrhythmia, and BOSS deploys countermeasures against intoxication. As they briefly argue about Riri's ownership of the Mandarin's rings, Stark lies on a hammock to catch some rest. Meanwhile, the unidentified saboteur behind Tony's misfortune rejoices as he sits at a desk, watching several news outlets on numerous screens reporting on Tony's blemished reputation, with the last incident having been perceived by the public as Tony falling off the wagon. In one of them, Stark Unlimited CEO Andy Bang is holding a press conference to remind shareholders that Tony is no longer involved with the company. The conference is interrupted when the living laser breaks out of the Stark Unlimited HQ, calling out for Tony Stark. Tony has been watching the conference from his hideout, and goes after the villain alongside Ironheart. They respond to emergency calls coming from the old Avengers mansion, and find the living laser defacing Iron Man's statue at the Avengers monument in the mansion's grounds. Parks is aggravated and accuses Tony of experimenting on him as they fight, leading Stark to think that the laser is being caught up in the machinations of his saboteur. The living laser depletes the energy of Iron Man's armor and slices open his faceplate. Ironheart comes to Iron Man's help, and Parks grazes her arms with his lasers. In response, Riri takes off her gloves, revealing that she has been wearing the Mandarin's rings, unsettling Stark. She uses the rings to first command the living laser to cease hostilities, and then to make him revisit his memories, allowing herself and Tony to observe them as well. A week prior, Parks was staying at a penthouse he broke into. Somebody that appeared to be Tony Stark knocked at the door, tasked Parks, and had goons take him to a secret laboratory at Stark Unlimited. Riri corroborates that the living laser's memories weren't tampered with, leading Tony to ponder about this imposter. Riri uses the rings to fix the damage to Tony's statue. As soon as she shifts her attention to the living laser, Parks saps them both and flees, demanding that Tony let him partake in taking down his assailant, much to Stark's disbelief. Back at his hideout, Tony replaces his armor's faceplate. He asks Riri to keep a distance from him, at least publicly, until they know who is pulling the strings. Stark suspects that he was poisoned by the coffee he drank at the Alcoholics Anonymous he attended the previous night, and that the attempts on him are due to the Stark Unlimited stock. Nevertheless, he looks forward to meeting his new nemesis. In his narration, Tony explains that he has a personal friend named Zhong Wei with enough stock in his company to prevent a takeover, and that he doesn't have anything to worry about as long as he is safe. At his house, Wei is slumped in his office chair, dead with a hole in his chest.